Thank you for taking time to watch this discussion about our online campus. There's been a lot of questions, and we're going to try and answer some of those questions for you by way of this video.
So, what is then an online campus?
Well, maybe should start with what an offline campus is. You know, in an offline campus, we gather together on Sunday morning, and actually a lot of people don't even have any idea of all the things that go on in our building here.
It's true.
You know, there's a lot happening throughout the week, but you know, those things are going to continue. It's going to be involved in ministry. There's a daycare here. There's a preschool that happens. There's community events happening. But despite all of those things, really what we want to be about in the church is making disciples and building disciples so that people more faithfully follow Jesus.
Right, and that's where the online campus goes from being an online experience to an actual campus, is that it has that element of discipleship. You know, so often people get this misunderstanding that just coming to church on Sunday is how you are discipled. And that's a portion of it, but that's really the cherry on top. The real meat of what it means to be a disciple and how we follow Jesus closer happens in those small group studies. It happens when we serve together, when we pray together, when we seek after God together. So an online campus is a space where all that type of discipleship, intentional discipleship aspects happen online, right? So you're going to have small groups online, you're going to have prayer times online, you're going to have ways for us to serve together online. We can fast and have prayer initiatives, those type of things. The things we would do normally in our building for intentional discipleship will just happen in the digital realm.
So, as we make that transition, nothing's really going to go away. It's just adding more to what we're already doing through the life and ministry here at the Monticello United Methodist Church. It's going to be an issue that you're remaining on staff.
Yes.
You're still going to be in the preaching rotation, and we'll be doing things that way. People that maybe aren't so familiar with the life of the church over the years, they'll say to me, so you just work 2 or 3 hours a day or 2 or 3 hours a week, just on Sunday morning, and those folks that know what goes on in the church, they understand that the life of a pastor involves more than that. But this is a whole new thing, and there's kind of a question that I've been asked that maybe you're a better one to answer it. So, Justin, what are you going to do with all your time as an online pastor?
Oh, there's this idea that, I just have so much more free time now, and that is sadly not the case. I would love to play more disc golf, but that is not what's going to really happen here. Pastoring an online campus is very similar to pastoring an offline campus. There's still pastoral care, where probably when you started off in ministry, pastoral care was that you would go to someone's house and visit them, and you would do that kind of thing. In the digital realm, it's praying with people via FaceTime, and taking prayer concerns via email, and finding out that someone in our Facebook community, that they just had someone pass away, and reaching out to that person and making those connections. It's really about connections. And there's a book that we're really leaning on called Social Media to Social Ministry. It's by Nona Jones. She's phenomenal. And one of the things she talks about is Facebook. A few years ago, Facebook was all about the way you would connect would be that you would do ads. You would get the word out about what you're doing. But that's not social connection. That's the commercials that we can skip, right? That's the big thing about online streaming. So Facebook changed its algorithm to not really focus on advertisements, but more connections. What is the ways in which people are communicating together? How are they engaging together? And that's what most of my time will be doing, is creating those engagement points, those community points, where we can have those conversations on our Facebook group, on our website, and chat features, to where people feel like they're fully known, and not just known by God, but known by God's people. And when we build that community, we build those connection points, that's where the church is. I mean, that's what we felt during the pandemic, right? When people were at home and you couldn't come to church and be here in the building, the thing we heard was, I miss seeing people. I miss connecting with people. I miss the community, and that's the type of thing we hope to build in the online campus. So a lot of my time will be spent doing that, but also there's the a new service and training a brand new volunteer group, right? We've never had online hosts before, and now we have to train online hosts and what it means to have Facebook group moderators, and how are people going to be doing our different types of life groups and connect groups, and there's so many different types of things we're doing. So training that group, and really, we don't know all the answers, right? We don't have it all down. It's not like God just said, here's the golden egg, enjoy that, that's for you. So we're learning and growing as we grow as a group.
So it's really going to be a learning process for some time,
Absolutely. And I think that's the unique thing is the church had to go a different direction during the pandemic. We had to learn new things, we had to adapt. One of the greatest fears is that the church will say, okay, things are starting to open back up. We have the vaccine. Let's just go back to how we were. But I think what God is calling us to do is say, what can we do with this new way we've learned how to present the gospel? How can we take this into a new realm? And that's what the online campus is. So then the question could be asked, why are we even doing an online campus?
Well, because of the pandemic, we did a lot of things different in the last year, and one of the things that we realized was that there was a void. There was something that was missing out there, or there were people who wanted to connect with church and maybe weren't able to do it for one reason or another. And so we're actually responding to a need that we recognized because of the pandemic. One of the things that we've discovered is, first of all, it was easier to invite a friend to join you for church online. It was less threatening than say, hey, meet me in the parking lot or meet me in the parlor or the common grounds as we come into the church. It was easier to invite people online, and also as folks invited friends to join them virtually, they also said that was easier for them, and it could be a stepping stone to coming into church, but also for some people it was just a matter of distance. They're not within driving distance of Monticello. In some cases, it's people who had been a part of this church in years gone by and have now moved away, and so it's been a way for them to still connect with the Monticello United Methodist Church, but also continue to nurture and grow in their faith.
Yeah, and we talk about the people who have been here and they've gone away, but there's also an entire group of the population, and Barna calls them digital natives, the people that they were born into a time when technology was either on the rise or already fully here, and most of their lives take place online. So they shop online, they order food online, and a lot of us did that during the pandemic. These people, that's what they want to do, right? They work online, they live most of their lives, their entertainment, all of it is online. And the fact that the church, sadly, is not always the greatest change agent. We don't shift really well, and there's a lack of a presence online for the church, and reaching out to those digital natives and saying, look, you don't ever have to step foot in the building. We never are going to ask you to, hey, why don't you come in? But we want to be your church. We want to grow with you. We want to provide discipleship opportunities for you. That's who we want to be. Can we be your church? And that's really what the online campus is seeking to do, is to reach into that group of digital natives and go in that direction.
So how are we going to launch this online campus?
So when you launch an offline campus, right, you have a space you're gathering, and you invite the entire community. Sometimes you call everybody, or you give them all flyers, or a mass texting thing that goes out. It's a little bit different when it comes to an online campus, because it's, hey, let's come to this spot online. And one of the key things it's going to be for us is sometime around August 1st, we're going to launch the Mumsy Online Facebook group. And that is a place where everybody who currently is involved with our church needs to be on there. Because just because you attend service on Sunday mornings here does not mean you're not involved in the online campus. Because there's way for you to interact and be discipled in that group, right? So the online Facebook group, the Mumsy Online Facebook group, it'll be a space where we reach out and have discipleship, we have groups, we have prayer gatherings, people can ask questions. And that's one of the things that I think is super important, is that people can ask the questions that they might want to ask and never had an opportunity to, right? We have a large portion of our population who suffers from anxiety and depression, and they would never step foot, or not feel comfortable stepping foot in an actual church building. They feel out of place, and it's just not something they would do. but they might go onto a Facebook group and ask a question, or just watch the questions that are being answered. So how we do that on a Facebook group is we'll have this group, we'll post our services there, so our Sunday morning services, but also a brand new online only service that'll be on Wednesday nights, to where it'll be short, be 28 minutes long, have a song, a message, time of prayer, and that's pretty much it, to where people can be engaged in that. But also there will be a component for life groups in there. So our focus is discipleship. So we have small groups, connect groups, but also life groups, where it's a group of 3 to 5 people that you do life together. You don't just switch in and out. You stay in that group for a very long time. And at the end of the service, there will be 3 questions for your life group to answer together for that week. And it's all about building these touch points, these community points, where we can grow together in Christ. We'll also have on-demand discipleship. That could be sermon series that we've done. So we just wrapped up our Reckless Love sermon series, and we could take that sermon series and make it into a primer on what it means to be a disciple of Jesus and what it means to love. So people can go through, watch the sermons, and respond to questions and comments and things about that sermon series to grow deeper in their faith. You know, if we have one about experiencing God, when we did that one, a really great series that can go through and how we experience God. So that'll be on demand. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, when you're getting off your job because you work second shift and you're not ready for sleep and you couldn't go to church, you can hop online and watch a sermon and still be a part of the conversation. You're not on the outside looking in. You're not trying to catch up. It's live. It's always live. That on-demand discipleship is huge. And the way we're going to do the groups for that are going to be a variety. So there are some who they do not want to be on Zoom. That scares them to show their face. It's not something that they would ever do. Well, we'll start off with the texting group, a small group to where everything is done through text message. Maybe we'll have a phone call group. Then you can kind of graduate from the texting group to the phone call group, the phone call group to the live group, and eventually there are people who are just too far away. But if me and my 3 neighbors all start watching Online Campus together, we could have a small group in my living room in Kansas watching our Online Campus service and being able to have that participation in that as well. So it's something that is exponentially possible. We cannot tease out every possible way that we're going to see God move in the Online Campus. But our plan is to do it in such a way to where we're always reaching out in love and always trying to show people there's a space where you can be loved by God and loved by other people. Will you come and see? And that's how we're going to do it.
Well, we're not the first to do this,
right?
Although there's not a whole lot of churches, particularly our size, that have launched an online campus, and we've got a lot to learn. We've learned a lot over the last year, and we're constantly trying to pick up more. But it's not something that we're doing on our own or in a vacuum. We're doing this in partnership with both the district as well as the conference. And our conference superintendent, Lori Blinn Gibson, she's got a word of greeting that she wants to bring to our congregation.
Hi, I'm Lori Blinn Gibson. I'm the conference superintendent assigned to serve the Northwest District. And on behalf of the Northwest District operational team, we are excited to be partnering with Monticello United Methodist Church in the launch of your online campus. The pandemic has caused every church, all of us, to see the possibility of how we might be doing ministry differently. I'm encouraged and excited to see how God is going to use you in your online campus to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. It's literally a worldwide possibility. Pastor Justin Kayson will give leadership beginning June 1st to your online campus. And to my knowledge, he is the first 100% online pastor to be appointed in the Indiana Conference. So you are pioneers. You are groundbreakers, and I am so thrilled for you and for the kingdom of God to be part of this enterprise. Bless you.
we're also partnering with our conference in this process. And Ed Fenstermacher is a part of church development, who is responsible for starting new congregations and new ministries in the life of our conference. And so they are also joining us and encouraging us in this process.
Hi, I'm Ed Fenstermacher, Associate Director of Church Development for the Indiana Conference. And we're excited to be partnering with you folks at Monticello United Methodist Church as you launch a digital online faith community, a campus. We are always looking for ways to help churches like yours reach unchurched persons. And we're particularly excited because we know there's a growing percentage of the population who are unlikely to ever show up in person at your church. And we believe that what you're doing will be a model for other churches in our conferences to learn from and to follow. So thank you. You have our prayers, and we look forward to the results of your efforts. May God bless you.
On May 2nd, following the classic worship service in the sanctuary, we're going to have a question and answer time that if you've got other questions that you want to ask or want to hear Pastor Justin talk about the things we've talked about today in a little bit different way, would encourage you to come and be a part of that. And also, spread the word to others about what we believe God's called us to do. And then as we begin to see God move, I hope that you will share with others the way that God's using the online campus and the ministries of the Monticello United Methodist Church to make a difference for His kingdom.